Wow, that was so long-winded. All right. Welcome to my channel. My name is Andrew. I did something exciting. I painted my nails, and I have never painted my nails in my life, and I've always wanted to paint my nails. I did it. It's amazing. All right. I just want to have a record of every single book I've read and have my thoughts on the internet because why? I don't know. But I want to be able to reference them for people. So that's what I'm doing. I will link my last recent reads video up there if you want to check it out. But I think that like 5 books is a really good, concise amount to discuss. So I have my iPad also, which I just got, and I've been reading on this iPad a lot, and I read some graphic novels on here. All right, so I'm gonna discuss the next 5 books I read after they both die at the end. The next book I read after that was And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman. I pretty much exclusively this year listened to audiobooks for all of my reading. I listened to this book on audio, and I was a little underwhelmed. I feel like it's a book with no plot. It's very much just like an exploration. I feel bad because like I can't say I enjoyed the book. And I know it's like Frederick Bachman I really enjoyed Beartown. That's the only other book I've read. Only other book I have read by him. And I did really enjoy Beartown. I think it's just maybe the story was just too short for me to really get invested in anything, because I think it's only, the book is only 97 pages, so I'm going to argue that's not really enough to get invested in anybody or what's happening. That's possible. But I know it makes a lot of people cry, so I feel bad. I even have had family members that have had Alzheimer's. My grandma had Alzheimer's, and this is a book it's about dementia, I think. It just really didn't stick with me. And I've said it before in other videos, like literary fiction, me and literary fiction just don't really click that often. But I've read Beartown, like I said. And I gave that 4 stars. I really liked that book a lot, actually. And I was very invested in the characters. So it's not like a Frederick Bachman thing. It's just like this book just wasn't long enough for me personally, I guess. Let's move on. The next book that I read was Ties That Tether. I actually have a physical copy of that. I actually read that entirely in its physical format, which is so rare, as you will see, so rare for me to read a book and not listen to any of the audiobook at all. Sometimes I'll go back and forth between like physical and audio. I read the whole thing on paper, and it was just a really cute romance. I wouldn't call it like super impactful. I don't think it was like the most life-changing book by any means, but like it was a cute little contemporary romance type deal. I know some things happen in it that kind of make some people angry, so I would just look out for that if you are planning on reading it or you're interested in reading it. I do think like the reason that caught my attention was because it's a book about, I'm pretty sure she's Nigerian. Yes. She is Nigerian, and she falls for like a Hispanic man, but she had promised her dad on his deathbed that she was going to like marry someone Nigerian. And there's a lot of pressure from her mom to marry someone Nigerian and like stay within like your own race with who you're gonna marry. And like she falls for this Hispanic. The synopsis for this book says that he's white, but I'm pretty sure he lives in like Canada, because I'm pretty sure the book is set in Canada. But then he has some sort of Hispanic, something about him is Hispanic. Like his mom or his dad was Hispanic. It's been a while since I read it. When did I read this? I'm confused. I'm curious. I read this back in January. Wow. And it's like already May. So it's been a while since I read it. So forgive me. Some of the details might be incorrect. But from what I remember, he is Hispanic somehow. And I did really enjoy like the discussion of race and like the way that the book, like the end was a little bit like crazy dramatic, but it was still a really good message. I really enjoyed the book. So I gave it 4 stars. Also, I would recommend if you like romance. All right, this next one makes me so sad because I have multiple Cassandra Clare videos on this channel, and I'm a fan. I'm actually watching Shadowhunters, the TV show, like not right this second, but I'm currently watching it in my free time, and I love Cassandra Clare. So this next one is Chain of Gold. Chain of Gold for me was just way too character driven. I love the characters, so I gave this one 3 stars. This is supposed to take place after the events of the Infernal Devices, and there are just so many characters, but like they're all characters I've been introduced to in side stories before, and it's very like you really have to rely on those side stories like in order to appreciate these characters. And even someone that has read the side stories didn't super I do appreciate the characters. Like, I did appreciate the characters. So that's why I gave it 3 stars, because like I'm glad I read it, and I'm gonna read everything in the Shadowhunter universe, like especially the Wicked Powers. I really need the Wicked Powers. Like, I really wish we could just skip to the Wicked Powers. But it's like people are either obsessed with the infernal devices, or they're obsessed with the dark artifices. I feel like that's where it always, like, most people land. Like, they either like really don't like the dark artifices and they love the infernal devices, or it's like the opposite. But I read them all last year for the first time as a 27-year-old, and people constantly say that they think the Mortal Instruments is like not good by today's standards, and it definitely has its problems, and there's definitely some weak books in the series, don't get me wrong, and it's also like long. It's very long, but I just think I wish those people that say that they don't love it would read it again. Anyways, I'm going on a huge tangent that has nothing to do with the book specifically, but there's a lot going on in this world. There's like 18 publication. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. And so anyways, obviously I was very invested going into it. I've read all the Infernal Device. I've read everything she's written except for Chain of, I keep forgetting what it's called. I keep wanting to call it Chain of Thorns. That's the 3rd book. I read everything except Chain of Iron, obviously, because Chain of Gold was like the book before the one that just came out. And I know she's like publishing short stories on her website right now, and I'm not keeping up with those because it's a lot, girl. Like, she just writes like nonstop all about Shadowhunters. And I mean, it's just a lot. Like, I wish she would just keep it to like her books. But at the same time, she's really crafty with like making you have to read all her side novellas to like really appreciate her stuff. Like, she was smart with that. How much have I actually said about Chain of Gold? Nothing? All right. Chain of Gold follows the events of the Infernal Devices, and you're mainly following this girl, Cordelia. I won't tell you like who she is the daughter of if you are interested in picking up these books and have not currently picked up these books. But if you are interested in the books, well, if you're not interested in the books, I would highly encourage you to pick them up if you are anywhere in the realm of LGBTQIA+. Like, if you are anywhere in that realm, I would highly advise you to pick it up. These are some of the first queer characters in modern literature, and they're in a fantasy setting. It's just fantastic. It's just fantastic to see us there. And Chain of Gold, everybody is LGBT. All right, everybody. Like, is anybody straight in the... There's like 2 straight people. Some people are bi, some people are just gay, some people are... I don't think anybody's trans. I can't... Anyways, there's like really nothing that happens in the book. I heard people say that they think Chain of Gold, or like The Last Hours, that's the name of this whole series, they're saying that it has more of a plot than the Infernal Devices. I'm gonna have to disagree, y'all. I think that the Infernal Devices has more of a plot. The Infernal Devices is very character driven, and those characters like will sit in your feelings forever. I do think the characters are amazing, but as a plot-driven reader, Chain of Gold left much to be desired for me. But I do love the characters, and I did love certain Shadowhunter tropes that are present, if you will. I don't know what else to say about it. Because I just have to, first of all, I do really like this cover, and like, it's hard, but this is my first, like, I bought this like on release day, and it was so exciting to be like all caught up. And also, like, I am very excited that I'm all caught up, and like I will be picking up all the new releases. And like, bruh, I've shown this in so many videos, but like I'm gonna show it in every video when I end up talking about Chain of Gold or whatever. So yeah, no, I have not read Chain of Iron yet, but I do own it. Let's just appreciate the cover real quick. Let's just real quick, because it's also beautiful. Listen. People were saying that they thought that this was like not as cute as Chain of Gold, and like I kind of agree, but like let's let it be its own thing, you know? Like, it's still stunning. Like, I still think it's stunning, and I don't know what's happening with these things. Oh, and it kind of matches my nails. And this one doesn't have okay, I just turned to a page that I need to read this. Like, I need to read this. Like, I know it's going to be at least 3 star. Like, I've never given a Cassandra... have I given a Cassandra Clare book less than 3 stars? I might have given City of Ashes less than 3 stars, but this doesn't have the same, like, character art at the beginning, but it does have, like... I don't want to show you names, but there's that, and the cover. I just love this aesthetic, all right? Like, I do love this aesthetic. I do love Cassandra Clare's universe. Even though I can recognize a lot of the flaws, I really like her writing. I really like her characters. I really like her world. So I love Matthew Fairchild. I love Matthew Fairchild. I am excited to get to this book. I think this one is going to be a little bit more plot. I think she's going to introduce more plot as we go on here. But how many pages are you, sir? 656 pages. This bitch is 656 pages. All right. I've talked about this book for way too long, but there's just so much to say with each Shadowhunter book because, you know, this is like who got me to read. She got me to, I owe her so much. I owe her so much. I picked up the books. I thought it would be whatever. I don't know. Cassandra Clare's books mean a lot to me personally. They just do. It is what it is. So again, I still haven't said anything about Chain of Gold, but yeah, I gave it 3 stars. It was like, there's no plot. And she's good at, she can write really interesting plots. And she did hit me with some good reveals at the end. I think that like once the third, I'm not going to read this until Chain of Thorns comes out. And then what I'm thinking about doing is rereading every book and making a dedicated review for every book because I want to be able to just reference them on my channel because like I'm a huge fan. All right, and we are getting like hour-long spoiler-filled vlogs for a lot of these books, and I'm not going to be making vlogs, but I do want to have my spoiler-filled thoughts in a video to be referenced by the fandom kind of thing. So, wow, that was so long-winded. All right. Then I read The Hate U Give. So I also read this year because, listen, don't come for me. I wasn't reading anything when this came out, okay? So we're playing catch up. We're playing so much catch up. It's insane. It's a bit overwhelming. This was so good. I haven't seen the movie. It's an award-winning, this is a young adult book about a girl named Star. She is Black and she is like dealing with one of her best friends getting shot by a police officer, which unfortunately this was literally published in, I want to say 2017. Yes, this was published in 2017 and it hasn't stopped since, unfortunately. But this was a 5-star for me. And I am eventually going to read the prequel about Maverick, Star's father, and his like whole career. And like, you know, he calls her Star because she's like a shining light in his life. This is a very, very good book. And it is very sad, obviously, but there is a lot of like dynamics with her family and the neighborhood that are beautiful. So like, yes, it is sad. Like, there definitely are sad moments, but there is also hopeful moments in this book, and there's like glimpses of joy. And I would definitely recommend this to everyone. I think this is a super important book. I probably want to like lend this out to friends for them to borrow it. I should do that at some point. I know there is also a movie, but like I said, I have not seen it, but this was very good. Would recommend. I will be reading the prequel. I will probably watch the movie at some point also when I'm like in the mental headspace for it, because like I said, it is sad, but it's only sad. I won't say it's only sad at the beginning. It's sad throughout, but it's also hopeful throughout. It's just an important book and I would recommend it. That's it. I'm going to talk about one more. And this one was like a 4.5 star for me. I think this one was pretty hyped up for me. That is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. And it was very good. And people talk about her voice, like saying how like her voice just sounds like honey and it's beautiful. And that was like underhyped. Like her voice was underhyped. Like it's so good. She has such a good voice. Like I wish she would narrate every audiobook that I listened to. But it was also really cool to like hear her talk about slam poetry. Cause okay, so this is a book about a woman discovering her love for slam poetry, and it's written in verse, but you can't really like tell that because like when she's narrating the audiobook, it just sounds like she's just talking, and she's talking in a very, just like the cadence of the words, like it just really, you just like, it hits like in a way that's like slam poetry. I don't know, that sounds stupid, but this is a very good book. It's very popular on BookTube. I'm sure you've heard of it. I really, really, really resonated with a lot of her journey, a lot of her like her experiences with religion. And like her thoughts. I really appreciated it. So it was like a 4.5 for me. I kind of want to reread it. I probably will reread it at some point. It's a very easy audiobook to get through. I'm definitely going to read her other stuff because it is really good. Definitely recommend it. I think that I'm the most excited for like her actual novel. I feel like that's the one, With the Fire on High, I think is getting just an actual novel. I think I'll connect with it a little bit better, maybe. But yeah, this was like 4 to 4.5 stars for sure. All right, that is all the books I'm going to discuss in this video. I will link my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, all that will be in the description. I would love it for you to follow me. I would love it if you would subscribe as well. Let me know what you've read this year, what you've enjoyed this year. Love to hear from you. Bye.